Hey guys, it's tax time, and today we're going to talk about accountants. Since it is tax season, I thought I would give you some advice on specific traveler tax companies that you could possibly use this year. Traveler taxes can be really tricky, and using the self-guided websites or apps like TurboTax, TaxAct, or H&R Block aren't always the best way to go because they're so complicated to do different state incomes, different state returns, different federal returns, and a lot of the systems and programs just can't really work through it and they can't get you the maximum return that you need. So using a specialist is highly recommended to make sure that you're getting back the most that you can. Specialists also can work very efficiently and don't need a lot of work on your part as long as you have saved most of your receipts and those things are easily accessible. Speaking of receipts, like I've said before, keep your receipts. You need to stay on top of this. And one way that you can file everything very efficiently and very quickly is through an app called CamScanner. CamScanner is great. It puts all of your files into one PDF, and then you can just do one click and send it on over to your accountant or whoever's requesting documents. Not only can you keep all your travel receipts on CamScanner, you can also keep your vaccinations and physicals, you can keep your certifications, anything that you think a recruiter, a company, a facility, an accountant would need at some point in your travels. You can categorize, and like I said, it's just one click and a send. It's a beautiful way to keep track of all of your things and to share that information with whoever's asking for it. I will go ahead and put a link in the description box down below for the CamScanner app. Feel free to use that anytime to help you keep all of your documents organized. Let's talk about accountants. So number one on my recommendation list would be TravelTax. They specialize not only in US, but also international traveler taxes. They have a workbook that's super easy to fill out. You basically just take all the documents that you've kept and you just transcribe them into this workbook. Don't be alarmed, it is 20 pages long. However, it's step by step, it's really clear and super easy to do. It's really not a big fuss if you just have all of your records on file and your receipts and all of that. What I like about them is you can upload your documents securely or you can email them straight to the accountant, and then what they'll do is once they've received all your documents, they will schedule a phone call with you. They will go over your entire workbook. If there's anything outstanding, they will ask you for it. They will discuss exactly the breakdown of everything that you've turned in, what they're going to file, how they're going to file. They give you an answer right there on the phone as to what to expect for a return and or how much you would owe to each state if that's applicable to you. I love this service because a 20-minute phone call ends with me knowing and how much I'm going to be getting back. And I like that they have auditing representation. That's amazing because like I said, I got audited and it sucked. And sometimes that happens, you get audited, and it's nice that they will represent you, especially if it's like an error on their part or an error on your company's part, but they will represent you in court should you need their services. They're also backed up by Blue Pipes. If you're not familiar with Blue Pipes, it's a great traveler resource. It's a website. I will link it in the box down below. It's great for nurses. It's basically what I'm doing, but on a website with like blogs and lots of resources and information. So I like that it's backed by them. Prices, it costs $256 if you're filing single. If you're also going to have your spouse file there and you're going to file jointly, it's $38 for your spouse. So that's actually not too bad to file jointly. Each state return is $54. And again, if you're filing with your spouse, that'll be $10 per state with them. So their prices are kind of variable depending on how many states you have to file with, but overall their prices are really not that bad. I will post a link in the description box down below, so if you feel like TravelTax would work for you, go ahead and check them out. My second suggestion would be HICKS Financial. They're based out of San Diego. Their website's super easy to use. They don't have a workbook. You just upload all your documents and they take it from there. They're pretty quick with their responses. Their communication is just as good as TravelTax. I've never had an issue with them. I've used them for about 5 years out of my travel experience and have really had a good experience with them overall. Their prices are also variable, anywhere from $200 to about $375. It depends on how many states you're filing. I will put a link in the description box down below. Now, these next two companies are kind of backup companies if TravelTax or HICKS Financial isn't going to work for you for whatever reason. I've never used these two personally, but I haven't heard bad things about either of them. I just know out of experience, TravelTax and HICKS Financial, I can truly speak for them. Travel Nurse Tax Pro would be the third company I would recommend. They're also based out of Southern California, like HICKS Financial. You schedule a call with the tax advisor. You go ahead and call them at the scheduled time. They go ahead and preemptively look over all of your documentation with you and kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at as far as a return. It's kind of like a pre-tax filing meeting, I guess is how you can say it. But once they receive all your tax forms, they go ahead and write up the return and do what they do. They screen share what they're seeing with you so that they walk you through everything, all the documentation, and then they get your final approval. You know what to expect for a return or what you have to pay in, and then they file it. So it's kind of cool that they do the screen sharing. That's a little bit different. I also have a secure document portal, so you can either upload your documents that way or you can email them directly to your accountant. The price is also variable with them, so if you're a first-time traveler, file your taxes is $295 with federal plus one state. For experienced travelers, it's $345 with federal plus one state. I don't know what their fees are per each state. I'm going to assume they're anywhere from $50 on average, like the other companies. The only thing that I found tricky about this company when I did try to use them is that I had a hard time actually getting to a tax advisor. Scheduled a time, the time came and went. I didn't receive a phone call. That was my bad. I didn't realize that I had to call them. So I rescheduled, and then at the appropriate time, I called them. I had to leave 2 voicemails over the course of 2 days to get somebody to return my call. So I don't know if it was just bad timing around the holidays or what the deal was, but again, this is a backup company to the other two. I can't say they're all bad. I say their prices are pretty comparable to the others, but I just found it hard to communicate with them. And then the last one I'm going to recommend is Travel Nurse Tax. They are based out of Florida. I don't know how much it costs to use them. Their website was pretty vague with information. They did have an email address and a phone number that you can call if you want to get in touch with somebody and get these questions answered. I don't know what their process is like. I assume you email them your documentation like every other company, and then they advise you and go from there. But again, this is like a last resort type company if you absolutely had to use them. And the only reason I list these 4 is because there's very, very, very few companies. These are basically it that specialize specifically in traveler taxes and that will know what to deduct, know how to get you the biggest return possible, know how to make sure you're not audited, etc. One other resource you can use is travelnursingcentral.com. I believe I mentioned them before in another video, but they are a great resource for everything. They also can refer you to a travel tax specialist. I've never used their referral service, but I am going to post it in the description box down below. I know these prices can be a little high, but a specialist truly is worth every penny. I mean, they tell you what you can and can't deduct as a traveler. They make sure that you're not going to be audited. They make sure you're not paying double taxes. That actually happened to me this year. They were like, oh, I see that you got double taxed in New York and we need to correct that. And right over the phone, they just got it fixed, which I would not have known about. Like I said, the worst thing you want to do is get audited because that really sucks. So it's worth every penny and invest in the proper accountant to do your taxes the right way. Of course, use whoever you like to use, but just know that a specialist can make a big difference. And that's all I got for you guys. Here's to big returns, happy travels, and I'll see you in the next video.